Welcome to CEO with Sophie. Just a quick note from me. If you like what you hear, go ahead and join the CEO Club right now by hitting that subscribe button. Not only will you never miss an episode, but you'll also be helping us out more than you know. Thank you and enjoy. Today on the show, I'm joined by an influential voice in personal finance, Cary Carbonaro. She's an award-winning certified financial planner with over 25 years of experience and currently serves as managing wealth advisor and women and wealth ambassador for Ashton Thomas. Cary has dedicated her career to helping women build confidence, grow their wealth, and take control of their financial futures. She's the best-selling author of The Money Queen's Guide, and her newest book, Women and Wealth, debuted as a #1 new release. Today, I'm asking the questions you've always wanted to know about money, mindset, and growing wealth as a woman. And Cary's here to share the real, actionable answers. I'm so excited for this one. Let's get into it. Hi, Cary. Welcome to the podcast. I am super excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, Sophie.
Good. So I have it here. I started reading your book. So we're definitely going to probably talk about it at some point. But what I really just wanted to dive in with you on is just the world of finance, because for me, I don't know much about it, which is strange. I work in finance, I recruit for kind of finance professionals, but I don't know the day to day. So I need to get like all of your tips and tricks. And I think it'll be really good for the audience to, yeah, hear how they can manage their money better. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to be a millionaire? So I'm sure we can touch upon that at some point.
Exactly. Well, I always say, who doesn't want more money too? Because it doesn't matter where you are in the cycle of wealth, everybody wants more.
Yeah, I agree completely. So let's, I suppose, jump in, give everyone a little bit of an understanding of yourself and your background, if you can.
Sure. So I'm a certified financial planner and I have been in practice for 25 years. So really long time. I have a female focused practice. So my clients are mainly women, which is also very rare in this financial planning world because it's about 80% men, 20% women in the industry practicing. So I'm reverse. What most people are, and also most clients are men. So, which is going to be changing soon. We'll talk about that later. I am also a CFP board ambassador. I am an author and a speaker related to women and wealth. And so this is my life's work. My life's purpose is so that teaching women about money and changing the industry to make it more female friendly. And that's my life's work.
Yeah, I love this. I'm so on board for this. And I didn't realize how bad I suppose the percentages were. Like even just women having financial advisors, there's not many, really.
Well, there's 23.9% of CFPs are women. And unfortunately, the number we're increasing, except the denominator is not changing because people are not retiring. So the number is not going down. So even though we're
Yeah.
increasing in number, we're just not getting higher in percentages yet.
Oh, that's interesting. Why do you think it is? Why do you think there's more men doing this role?
Well, this profession is about 60 years old. So it's a new profession, but wealth management was created by men for men. And so in general, women have always been, not really a focus and an afterthought. And in general, women in wealth management are looked at as two different categories: divorced or widowed, and that's it. And in my book, I have a whole entire chapter on all the other things that women are, all the other life cycles, all the other things. Women are way more than just widowed or divorced, but that's the only way that our industry has looked at women.
Wow. That's crazy. And yeah, like I said, I've started reading the book and I've got into that. Yeah, I'm learning about it, and obviously going back into the history as well. And to think about it, women couldn't vote, and we couldn't do all these. We couldn't even buy a house. I can't remember what date you put in there, but we couldn't buy a house back in the day without our husbands.
You couldn't get a credit
Being there.
card. You
Yeah.
couldn't get a loan. You couldn't,
Mm.
go to a bank. I mean, like, and it's not that long ago. Like it's in my lifetime. So
Yeah.
I literally can't believe that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So positive, we've got to look at how far we've come. We've still got a long way to go, but we're hopefully heading in the right direction now.
Well, we absolutely are. I don't know if you want to talk about the great wealth transfer, but if you don't, I will.
Yes, I do. I really do because I actually heard about this before I even spoke to you. Someone else said it to me and I was like, I need to know what this is. And then I spoke to you. Then I started reading your book and I was like, okay, you need to tell me about this. So this is and you're going to do this a lot better than I. But it's basically there's a wealth transfer to women and it's expected to be like what 30 trillion by
Yes.
2030.
2030, 2030. Yep. Which we are now 4.5 short years away. 30 trillion, which is the GDP of the United States. And if you go out even further to like 2048, it's like 57 trillion. So the numbers are just incredibly staggering. And everyone's like, how do you know this? How is this real? And so McKinsey, which is, the premier, I guess, gathering of intelligence in the United States and the world, came out with this report over a decade ago. So I've known these numbers for a decade, and now we are 4.5 short years away. So this is literally around the corner. And that's why I wrote the book, because this shift is happening. It's starting to happen now, and it's just going to accelerate over time. And I don't believe the industry is ready for the future of wealth management, which is a woman, and what needs to change, because the playbook that worked for the men is not going to work for the women. And I have all the reasons why and all the stats behind it and all the research in the book.
So why is this happening? So there's a transfer to women, but why? What's like the
Yes, so it's
background?
it's a, it's a confluence of a bunch of factors all happening at once. Number one, it is the transfer of wealth from the boomers to the next generation, and most of them are women. Their children are women, and also because women live so much longer than men. We live on average 7 to 12 years longer. So that so men are dying earlier, so you've got that. Then you've got the gray divorce, which is happening in the United States, where older people are getting divorced and women are inheriting larger sums of money at later ages in life.
Mhm.
Then women becoming widows, which has always been happening. It's just, we're getting a large sum of, I guess it's the generation span of the boomers getting to that age of transferring that wealth to the women. Then we have female breadwinners, which is an incredible demographic where, look at women in the 50s to women today and how many women are out earning men. And that's by 2030. Again, it could be the first time that women eclipse men in breadwinners, which is just incredible. And then women are starting businesses faster than men as well. So you've got all of this stuff happening at the same time. And it's really just demographics, but it's happening and it's really exciting.
This is exciting. I'm excited. I'm so glad I met you now because yeah, this is a great time. And I mean, I see it. I see it from my side. I see yes, women are starting businesses, but they are taking more risks. And the amount of successful women I know that are out earning men is crazy, and it's just keep going up. I love meeting like especially I say graduates or women that are just getting into the workforce, and they're like, yeah, I want to be part of the C-suite, a CEO, and they wanna be at the top, and I haven't seen that for a little while, so I feel like we're getting the energy back.
Yes. Well, it is a great time. It is really a great time. And it's, I feel like the possibilities are really open to women. And it's interesting because some people look at this as a DE and I issue,
Yep.
but to me, it's actually not a DE and I issue at all. It's a dollars and cents issue. Women are the future of money and of everything. So it's not about this is a diversity issue. This is the future, period. Like, it's just business.
Yes, I'm behind this. Yes, I'm all for this. You know me. I have a podcast around women. We are for women. Okay, talking about the finance side. Now I'm going to ask you some questions that I'm intrigued to know about. But what are the biggest financial challenges women face today when it comes to, say, like building long-term wealth?
Yes, so we have a lot of strikes against us. This
Mm,
is a little bit sad when I talk about this, but again, hopefully we're overcoming all of these. But so these are the strikes that women have against them, and it's more than you're going to think. One is the pay wage gap.
yeah.
82 cents on the dollar, still real, still happening. Then because of that, we also have We also have the wealth gap, which is not talked about as much as the pay wage gap. That is women out of the workforce, caregiving, having children, raising children, taking care of parents or family members, aging. So always seems to fall on the woman. And that costs women over $1 million over their lifetime. So you got that issue. Then you have women are in general more conservative than men. So a lot of times they're not 100% investing in the stock market, or they're keeping a lot of money in cash, also hurting them over time. Then you have women's longevity, which is actually a negative because then they have a longer lifespan to plan for. And when I tell people, I say sometimes if you're living to 100 and you're retiring at 60, you could have been retired longer than you worked. So it's an issue you have to be planning for. Then women spend more money in retirement on healthcare than men. So at right now, it's between 250 to 300,000 more because we are more complicated and we have more things in our bodies. So that's an issue. And also menopause, which is not even covered by insurance, which is another entire story. It's also in the book. I talk about it in my book. Also, women retire with 2/3 less than men. So you've got a lot of stuff going on here. And then in a lot of cases, because women are so giving, they put others before themselves. And I've seen clients give money to their kids and not fund their own retirement. So we got a lot of strikes against us. So we've got a lot of things to overcome. And so we need financial education and financial literacy more than men.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because we don't talk about it as well, and that's something that, I say a lot is I don't necessarily have the confidence around finance because I never got taught it. It's something that has always been quite taboo, and I think especially being British as well, actually, it's a cultural thing. You don't talk about money as well,
Well, I
but
think
it
you don't talk about it in the United States either, and
not
that should be
okay.
changed. That should be changed. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just in general. There's an old,
Yeah.
kind of like if you Google it,
Yeah.
it's like it's not ladylike to talk about money, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Says who?
It's so true though, but I think that's why men have these like locker room chats and they'll talk about
Right.
money and be open to it. Playing golf, let's talk about money. Well, what are you investing in? What are you doing? And I think we have a bit more self doubt around it. Like, oh, should I do that? Shouldn't I do that? Oh, I don't know. And
Right.
just managing
Or if I
money.
talk about it, am I bragging?
Yeah,
All of that stuff.
yeah,
So it is much, I mean, I talk about it all the time because it's what I do for a living. So I'm a
yeah.
little bit of an anomaly, but my girlfriends don't want to talk about it with me. And I'm like, if anybody you should talk about it should be with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. How can we though? How can we as women like overcome like financial self-doubt or lack of confidence when managing money or investing?
Well, first, I believe that you should be educating yourself.
Yeah.
Educate yourself with, good books and good, but make sure that you're not like listening to a thin influencer or something and getting it from TikTok, but which is a problem. But I just, a CFP is the highest standard in the profession. You should be, getting information from good sources. We have a whole financial disinformation campaign with the CFP board right now about where people are getting their information from, and it's a little bit scary. But anyway, and also if you can find a coach, an advocate, a CFP, somebody to teach you, to work with you, to make sure that they have your best interest at heart, a teacher, anything that's going to be educating you and have your best interest at heart. So in general, CFPs are fiduciaries, which means any advice they give you is in the best interest of the client. And to find a CFP, you can go to like letsmakeaplan.org, and that lists all the CFPs in the United States, which right now we're over 100,000.
Nice. And when we're talking about finding someone that you can work with, a financial advisor, I've always been someone I mean, I've been quite reserved, say, with money. I don't necessarily want to spend money, on working with someone. And I mean, it's always been really nerve wracking for me because you don't know what you're going to necessarily get out of it.
Sure.
But what are the benefits of paying for the service and actually having someone support you?
Well, so there's a whole bunch of studies that are done by Vanguard has one, DFA has one, which is DFA funds, and Fidelity has one, and Russell has one,
Yeah.
and they show that the value of a financial advisor over time comes to about 3.5% a year added to your portfolio. And that's through behavioral coaching, reallocation, tax management, asset placement. So it's a combination of all of the above. We can add so much value. But you have to find a good one, and you have to trust that person, and you have to experience it. I always say to my clients, if you're not getting value, you shouldn't be with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are.
Good. Yeah. No, I agree, and I actually spoke to my dad about it because I was like, "Oh, should I get a financial advisor? Is that going to be beneficial?" And I think obviously with myself and everything that's gone over the past few years, that I definitely think it'll be worthwhile. But also, I've got to think about the future, and I honestly am like, what am I doing? So, yeah, I need to speak to someone about that.
Well, and also we help you make long-term
Yes.
decisions,
Yeah.
because I think in general, most people are just thinking about now or maybe
Mm,
next year. And when I work with my clients, every decision that we make, we look at decades. How is this going to affect the next 10 years? How is this going to affect the next 20
yeah.
years? And so every decision is run under that lens, and it just changes your perspective.
Excited. We're going to make this happen. I want to talk to you about habits because I think that's going to be hopefully useful for people. But what are some of the most important habits women should develop in their 20s or 30s and even beyond to grow wealth, I say
Yes.
steadily?
Well, the first thing is that I want everyone, all women, and men too, but women's especially, I want them to know their numbers. And what that means is, my two favorites are budget, which is what's coming in, what's going out. It's not a four-letter word. It's not a diet. And I'm not telling you not to spend. I just want to know you should know what's coming in, what's going out. Because if you
Yeah.
don't know, usually you're in the red, and that's a problem. So that's number one. Second thing is know your numbers for your net worth, which is your assets, which is what you own minus what you owe equals your net worth. And so that's a super important number that should be growing every single year. And you should know that number too. Really important, because if you're focusing on it, you're growing it.
Yeah. Okay. Know your
Oh,
numbers.
and then another thing is to make sure, again, knowing your numbers, that you're not overspending for the big stuff like housing. Housing is a huge cost for most people. It's, anywhere from 20% to 50% of their, budget, take home pay or pre-tax pay or after tax pay or whatever. And so if you can get in a lot of trouble if you're overspending in that huge category.
Yeah. And talking about housing, say mortgages or renting, I'm seeing a lot about people saying it's not always best to buy a house. Sometimes it's better to rent. What do you
Yes.
think?
Oh, it totally depends on the situation. It depends on the person. It depends on where we are in the interest rate cycle. It depends on where you are in the housing cycle, boom or bust, or where we are. So, for
Yeah.
example, I'll give you an example. So, I sold my house in New York in 2020 before the prices went up,
Mhm.
and I sold it for probably, let's say $1 million. I'm just making it up, right? And now that same house, to buy it back is $2 million. And if I was to finance it, which I'm not, but let's say I was, my interest rate back then, I didn't even have a mortgage, but let's say I did, my interest rate would have been 2%, 2 to 3%.
Mm,
The interest rate today would be 8%, 7 to 8%. Do
mhm.
you know how much more that is? It's like, so that same house would, let's say, I'm just making it up, but let's say the mortgage payment was $3,000 before, like in 2020. That same house today, with the increase in value and the increase in interest rates, would probably be closer to 10,000 for the same house. Not worth it.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
I
when
know.
you break down the numbers, it's crazy. So yeah, that all depends then. It depends on the circumstances and yeah, how much money you've got, I suppose.
I like to run scenarios based on where we are. So for
Yeah,
me, at this moment in time, I don't own in New York, which is kind of weird for me because I'm a, born and raised New Yorker, and I don't own a home or any real estate in New York, and it's
yeah,
it's quite odd for me, but I can't make the numbers work right now of
yeah.
because things are just so high.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was looking into it actually. I was looking at like properties out here and I was just like, yeah, there's no way. It's just not worth it. Not worth it right now. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
Um, but hopefully that'll change. Another question I have for you. I feel like I'm just throwing loads of stuff at you that I just want to know. Investing. Everyone talks about investing. I have so many friends, so many colleagues, especially male friends and colleagues, who will be like, "Oh, you've got to invest here. You need to do this. You should be using this." Da 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 da. I am scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know much about investing. Yeah, it's all pretty new for me. So what advice would you give to someone like me who is like, I'd love to invest. I have absolutely no clue. I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
So, well, first, again, I still believe that you should educate yourself. So, education is very
Yep.
important. Secondly, is to a great place to start is to invest in your work 401k is a great place to start
Yep.
because you can dollar cost average over time into a portfolio. Now, the other thing that people talk about is the get rich quick schemes, and everybody's going to be wants to find the next, I don't know, Microsoft or Google or
Yeah.
Amazon or whatever.
Yeah.
But really, it's very difficult. It's like a needle in a haystack trying to find that stock. So if you just put, let's say, I always tell people a great place to start is the S&P 500 because you're already asset allocated with 500 different stocks. You're not picking what's going up or what's going down. You're just in all of them. And so over time, it's pretty much almost looks like a straight line up if you look at the history of stocks. And this way you're not, trying to pick, what I always think to myself, I don't understand why lay people think that they can pick the next Microsoft when professional people can't do it. Like it's so difficult. So just be in everything and then you get the return of the market. It's so much easier that way.
Yeah. And if I was, I suppose, completely starting from scratch, I wanted to invest, how would I do? What's like the first step? Do I just go set something up? Like, what do you do?
So step one, well, first of all, I would start with the work retirement plan. So either, 401k through work, 403b through work, anything that you have through work, because usually you get matched. And
Yeah.
then, and if you're not doing it, you're leaving money on the table, which is bad because they're giving you free money that you put in and they match it.
Yeah.
So, but if not, so I always say do that first, max that out first. And then if you have extra money after that, then you can open an after tax brokerage account at Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard. I like Fidelity personally, and they have retail branches, everywhere. So does Schwab. But like that's a really good place to start. And then you can
Okay.
start dollar cost averaging into that.
Interesting. And what if you don't have a 401k?
You can do your own self-directed. So it depends if you are self-employed or not. If your employer does not offer a 401k, you're allowed to do a deductible IRA up to whatever the limits are. So it's not that much. I think it's like you get to put in like $6,000 or $6,500, depending on your age, a year.
Yeah.
And you get to put that in, and then you get to take a tax deductible if your employer does not offer anything. And now, if you're self-employed, you've got a lot of other options. You have a solo 401k, you've got SEP choices, you got KIOs, you got cash balance plans, you got pensions, you got a lot of different choices if you're self-employed to pick your own retirement plan.
Okay. Interesting. There's so much to this, isn't there? There's
There
so much
is,
to it.
there is a
Okay.
lot. It's a
Okay.
lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, there's a lot. But basically do your research. Research into stuff. Don't feel like you
Well,
have to
or
do
just work with
everything.
somebody that tells you what to do. You can do that too.
Exactly. Yeah, I prefer that option personally. Yeah, that's so much better. Now, I'm gonna do something that I've never actually done on this podcast, but I thought that you would be the perfect person to do it with because as you can tell, I have so many questions for you. So this is basically a quick fire round, which let's see how it goes. But yeah, I'll run through these questions and yeah, let's see where we end up. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. First thing that comes up is first thing every woman should do to take control of her finances.
Know your numbers.
Good. Save or invest, which comes first?
I would say both at the same time, if possible. Retirement is important, but also so is your emergency fund. So let's say you had $100. I would put half in investing and half in savings.
Yes. And I know these are quick fire, but I need to ask you about this. I've heard about an emergency fund, right? What is that for anyone who doesn't know what that is?
Sure. So it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months of expenses in a savings account. And that is literally for an emergency. You're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to play with it. You're not supposed to use it to pay off bills. It's just supposed to be there in case of an emergency. And it is a great thing to have because emergencies always happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once you've got that, then we can look at what all the different
Yes.
things you can do around your money. Okay. Cool. Next one. Biggest money myth women should ignore.
Well, we were talking about it. One of the things earlier is that women should not be afraid of the stock market. Women should not be afraid of talking about money, and women should not wait for a crisis to work with somebody. Because usually by the time I get my clients, it's in the middle of a crisis, a death, a disability, a divorce, a job loss. So I get them at a bad time. And so I wish they would come to me. I always say when the sun is shining.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. And best age to start building wealth.
Immediately, ASAP.
When you're
So
born.
doesn't matter how old you are, you should start immediately. And it's never too late, except that the younger you are, the more you have time, and time is compounding interest over time is like we consider it the eighth wonder of the world. So the longer time you have, the more success you're going to have.
Okay. So just as soon as you can.
Soon as possible.
Okay. I like it. Biggest financial mistake you see women make.
Not investing in the stock market, being afraid,
Yeah.
because they'd rather, keep it in cash and, then they're not outpacing inflation and not planning for their 40-year retirement and longevity. So that's a big mistake I see. I also see caregiving for others over themselves. And that's another huge one.
Yeah. Emergency fund or pay off debt first.
Both. If you had $100, I would do both at the same time. But also if the debt is really high, I'd probably pay off the debt first.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the numbers.
Yeah. Stocks, real estate, or business. What's your go-to wealth builder?
Well, for me, it's stocks. I like all of the above, but if you look at those three, the difference on the stocks is stocks doesn't cost you any money. You own those stocks and it makes you money. Real estate costs you carrying costs, taxes, insurance, utilities, expenses, lots and lots and lots of cost with that one. You're still making money. It just costs you a lot of money. Same thing with business. A business is not free. It's going to cost you money to run that business. Stocks, maybe you're paying a financial advisor. Maybe not. But I mean, it's definitely the cheapest and the most bang for your buck if you looked at those three side by side.
That's interesting. What's one financial habit you swear by?
Spending less than what you make. I mean, I spend 50% of what I make, and I've always done it that way, which people think is massively extreme. But I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't even bother me. So that's one. And then also regularly investing, like automatically, so you don't even have to think about it.
That's good. Yeah, the spending part, and I know this is quick fire, and yes, I'm just going to talk about stuff, but the spending part, that's difficult to do, obviously depending on your circumstances, but also, do you see when people start earning more, their spending habits start increasing as they
Yes.
earn?
Yes. 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 Most people, it like levels up.
Mm,
And obviously it shouldn't be. Every time you get a raise, you should be putting that extra money away. That's what I believe.
yeah. Yeah. Unless you fancy a nice pair of shoes every now and again.
Well, I'm not telling you, I always tell my clients, I never tell you how to spend or what to spend your money on. I just tell you to spend less than what you make. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. How often should women check their finances?
So I'm a crazy person. And I do it for a living. So I check daily, not normal. However, I would say that most women should check their finances either monthly or semi-annually, like doing your budget and doing your net worth. Both of those two important numbers should be at least done twice a year.
Yeah. So like have a spreadsheet, have your
Yeah.
numbers on there. Okay.
Yes. Update them.
Yeah, definitely need to update them. What is one word to describe financially empowered women?
Freedom, which is my favorite word in the English language.
Mhm.
And freedom is freedom to do whatever you want to do, whatever
Yeah.
you want to spend, however you want to work, however you want to spend your time, what you want to buy, where you want to go, where you want to live. It's literally every single decision in your life is freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. And money can help with that, right? Money
Oh,
can support it.
it can do it all. It can do it
Yeah.
all. I mean, so what I say financial freedom is, and people always ask me, what is financial freedom to you? And to me, it is, which is the most incredible thing, is making more money from your portfolio and your investments than from your day job. That is financial freedom.
Yes. I like that one. Yeah. Yeah, because then you're not tied down to your day job, are you?
Yeah,
Necessarily.
you can do whatever you want. You can choose to work or choose not to work, or it's all, you're all doing it for fun. It's all for fun. And when it's not fun, you don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a really great freedom. They always, what was that old thing? It was take this job and shove it type thing. That's like
Yeah.
where you could do it. You can say that at any time.
Love that. Yeah. There was another one that I heard that I probably shouldn't have put on air, but it basically was your off money where you can
Right.
just
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I like that one as well. Okay, final question in this batch. One book women should read on wealth.
So, well, I like my book. My current book is my favorite one. But if you're talking not my book, my other favorite book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is a very old book, but it's all about the money mindset, and it can change and shift your mind and your perspective.
Yeah, I've read that one. That's a good one. And your book's good too. I'm like halfway through, so I'll do a little bit of a synopsis once I get through it. But it's good, and also it's nice to actually have like a female writing a book for women around wealth instead of
Yeah.
men. That's bad to say, but
Yes.
it's true.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Okay, no, I love all of that. Now we have a closing tradition on this podcast. So this one, I'm curious, and I don't know whether you want to focus it purely on money or just like generally yourself and your life. But what is one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
Well, that's easy. Don't marry your ex-husband. Such an
Oh,
easy
that was
one.
so good.
Such an
Okay.
easy one.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Okay. Well, noted. Noted. No, that was amazing. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. It's been great, and honestly, I feel like we could have asked you loads more questions, but I think we had a good overview here, so I appreciate it. And yeah, definitely for everyone, go grab your books, and I will send the links around so everyone can get them, read them, and obviously if they need anything, they can contact you as well.
Yes, I'm super easy to find.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Connect with me on social media.
Yeah, perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.